أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا صلى الله عليه وسلم عبده ورسوله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما قال سبحانه وتعالى في القرآن المجيد والفرقان الحميد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قال إني عبد الله آتاني الكتاب وجعلني نبيا صدق الله العظيم وصدق على رسوله النبي الكريم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد النبي الأمي وعلى آله وصحبه وأزواجه وأتباعه وأوليائك وعلمائك وشهدائك وبارك وسلم صلى الله تعالى عليه وسلم. In Allah's name, the most merciful and compassionate. Allah Azza wa Jal has our deepest gratitude and devotion. We recognize His magnificence and turn to Him for guidance, sustenance, and forgiveness. We seek His protection from the evil of our actions, from the evil within us, and the evil around us. When Allah guides someone, no power in the universe can lead them astray. And when Allah misleads one, no one can bring them back to the correct path through guidance. I bear witness that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the only deity worthy of worship. And I recognize Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam as His devoted servant and messenger. An abundance of durood and salawat upon the best of creation, the crown of creation, the jewel of creation. Nabiya Kareem Rahmatan lil Alameen, our master Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, and his noble family, his blessed companions, and the honorable wives. I greet all ulama, elderly and youth, those present and those watching via social media with the peace and blessings of Salamualaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The focus of today's bayan will be upon the second last prophet and messenger sent to this dunya. The awaited Messiah, the man without a father, the son of Maryam radiallahu ta'ala anha, and one of the Mursaleen al-Azm, Isa alayhi salatu wassalam. To understand the life of Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam and the belief surrounding it, we must start from before his birth. Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam was born in a time where the state religion was paganism. He was born in Palestine, and the Romans were the empire ruling over the Bani Israel, who were now a persecuted minority. The Romans had implemented a system of government after Julius Caesar, in which there would be small kingdoms, similar to states, who had their own kings or leaders, who would all be led by one reigning empire, and thereby its emperor. So at the time of Sayyidina Isa alayhi salatu wasalam's birth, Herod was the man who was in charge. He was basically the governor, and he was Jewish, but he was not very religiously oriented. Meaning his focus was completely on politics and the economic situation of his state. Doing this, he caused the already minority Jewish population to become even more forgetful of their deen. And eventually, most of the Jews had either fallen into paganism or were unpracticing. However, they were still very demanding, which we know has been their character from the time of Musa alayhi salam. They always have greater and greater demands, but are not willing to sacrifice anything for Allah. And they also do not show gratitude for it. The Jewish people under Herod were very exhausted of Roman rule, and they were eager for a promised Messiah to come from the lineage of King David, or as we know him, Dawood alayhi salam. They were also not pleased with the work of the governor Herod, or as he called himself, King Herod. And because of this, along with their already stingy and impatient character, the Jewish society's focus was towards who will come and liberate us from this oppressive rule. of King Herod. This again showed their lack of focus towards the actual deen. They had a prophet, they had men of God, they had message. However, they were still seeking the Messiah. And what they were seeking from the Messiah was not sincere. They wanted the Messiah to come back and put them in power. They did not actually care about the theology, the deen that the Messiah, the Prophet, would help them gain. However, Allah Almighty still favored the Bani Israel. They had been given favors upon favors, of which the greatest being the continuous line of prophets they had been given. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave the Bani Israel one final chance. And this chance was Nabi Isa alayhi. Sayyidah Maryam radiallahu ta'ala anha, the mother of Ruhullah, was born under the rule of Herod. She was the daughter of Imran, and her mother was a very pious woman. In fact, her mother was actually the sister to the wife of Sayyidina Zakaria alayhi salam. So this made Sayyidah Maryam radiallahu ta'ala anha the niece of a Nabi as well. This whole family, along with some others, were some of the last few orthodox and sincere people left of the Bani Israel. Sayyidah Maryam's mother had wanted a son, so she could make him a great scholar and spiritual leader. And so she made an oath to dedicate her son to the temples from the get-go. She obviously was given a daughter, Sayyidah Maryam. However, she still honored her oath and sent her daughter to the temple to learn and worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from birth. However, it was not allowed for a woman or a girl to be in the temple, especially not to live there. And it was only on the exception of the great family, the Prophet Zakaria alayhi salam, and the covenant of her mother, that she was allowed to stay. Sayyidina Zakaria alayhi salam was in charge of caring for her and bringing her food and everything else, especially as she got older and older and became more and more secluded in her chambers from the outsiders. Men were banned to even come near the mihrab of Sayyidah Maryam radiallahu ta'ala anha. Sayyidina Zakaria alayhi salam did not need to bring food for Maryam radiallahu ta'ala anha, in fact. As we know from Surah Al-Imran, ayat 37. كُلَّمَا دَخَلَ عَلَيْهَا زَكَرِيَّ الْمِحْرَابَ وَجَدَ عِنْدَهَا رِزْقًا. Whenever Zakaria visited at her place of prayer, he found new food with her. قَالَ يَا مَرْيَمُ أَنَّ لَكِ هَذَا. He asked her, "O Maryam, from where does this food come to you?" قَالَتْ هُوَ مِنْ عِنْدِ اللَّهِ إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَرْزُقُ مَنْ يَشَاءُ بِغَيْرِ حِسَابٍ. She answered, "It is from Allah. Indeed, Allah gives to whomever He wills without account." So we see that Sayyidah Maryam radiallahu ta'ala anha is not just an ordinary woman. She's extraordinary, beautiful in character, chaste, and truly an example for women today. We know from the following ayah that she was so blessed that her whole chamber, her mihrab, was blessed as well. And from this, the next ayah came down. It is here Zakaria prayed to his Lord. He said, "My Lord, give me from yourself a righteous child. Indeed, you only are the listener of prayer." So from this, we understand two things. First, we learn about the maqam of Sayyidah Maryam, that her whole mihrab was full of barakah, to the point a Nabi was making dua. And second, we learn that the mihrab of the pious can be a wasila for us, as it was for the Nabi of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Certain people argue against this point of Aqidah by saying it was the establishment of the point that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can give to whomever He wills without account, that made Zakaria radiallahu ta'ala alayhi salam make that dua. However, this is illogical, as it is impossible for a Nabi of Allah to forget that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the giver, the most generous, the most powerful at any moment. So it would be hypocritical for any prophet, someone who preaches piety and God consciousness, forget Allah for even a moment. Madallah. So this clearly constitutes that a mihrab of a pious person, of a wali of Allah, is and can be a wasila because of the barakah. And it also constitutes the great maqam of Sayyidah Maryam. And the following ayah tells us that this dua by Sayyidina Zakaria was accepted, and he was granted a son. In fact, a Nabi of Allah, Sayyidina Yahya alayhi salam. And even though Sayyidina Zakaria and his wife were very old in age. And the following events, as we know it, are from Surah Al-Imran and Surah Al-Nisa. Sayyidah Maryam radiallahu ta'ala anha was alone in her chamber, in her mihrab. And Allah Almighty sent Sayyidina Jibreel alayhi salam to convey a message in the form of a man. Sayyidah Maryam then said in a worrisome tone, I seek refuge of the most gracious from you, if you fear God. Sayyidina Jibreel replied, I am indeed the one sent by your Lord, so that I must give you a chaste son. He then asked, how can I bear a son? No man has ever touched me, nor am I of poor conduct. Obviously, as she lived in the temple and in the excluded chambers, she was celibate, and she naturally questioned what this strange man was telling her. And then he said, so it is, your Lord has said, this is easy for me. And in order that we make him a sign for mankind and a mercy from us. And this matter has been decreed. Following this, Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam was conceived, without any of the natural processes or biological intervention of a male. And in Surah Al-Imran, we learn about Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam. From verse 40 onward, we learn that Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam will be the one to speak while he is in the cradle. And he will be devoted in his adulthood. And he will be taught all of the wisdom of the Torah and the Injil. And he will bring many signs and miracles to the people. He will mold a bird-like sculpture from clay and blow into it. And by the will of Allah, it will become alive. And he will heal the blind and the leper, and raise the dead, and tell you the knowledge of the ghaib. What you eat and store in the privacy of your homes will be known to him, alayhi salam. And indeed, all of these are the miracles which took place in the lifetime of Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam. And they are the signs for the believers. And the event of the cradle is one of the most amazing miracles of the life of Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam. And it was clearly established his role amongst the people. Sayyidah Maryam radiallahu ta'ala an went into hiding to give birth to the child in her womb, in a far place. And she was given food and water through the same miraculous means as always. And when she ate and drank, she was ordered to pledge a fast of silence for the day for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which she did. As she returned to her people, they were shocked. And they said and asked things along the lines of, Ya Maryam, you have committed a great sin. How can you do this? Your parents were pious and God-fearing. And all she could do was point towards the child in her cradle. And they questioned how they could speak to an infant in the cradle. And in the majestic and powerful fashion of a Nabi and a Rasul of Allah, Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam as a child proclaimed, قال إني عبد الله آتاني الكتاب وجعلني نبيا وجعلني مباركا أينما كنت وأوصاني بالصلاة والزكاة ما دمت حيا وبرا بوالدتي ولم يجعلني جبارا شقيا والسلام علي يوم ولدت ويوم أموت ويوم أبعث حيا. The child proclaimed, I am Allah's bondman. He has given me the book and made me a herald of the hidden. And He has made me blessed wherever I be, and ordained upon me prayer and charity as long as I live. And has made me good to my mother, and not made me forceful or ill-fated. And peace is upon me the day I was born, and on the day I shall taste death, and on the day I will be raised alive. This miracle of Isa alayhi salam, by the will of Allah, is one which clearly and explicitly confirms the status, maqam and duty of Sayyidina Isa, which is also said in the next ayah. ذَلِكَ إِيسَى بْنُ مَرْيَمْ قَوْلَ الْحَقِّ الَّذِي فِيهِ يَمْتَرُونَ. This is Isa, the son of Maryam, a true statement in which they doubt. Something that is interesting about this miracle is even though there are so many similarities between the miracles of Isa alayhi salam in Islamic and Christianic texts, this miracle is not found in Christianic texts. It's not found in their canonical biblical scriptures. However, it is found in other scriptures. These scriptures are those that they do not accept. They're called the Apocrypha. And this shows that the leaders and the saints of the Christianic religion, they were picking and choosing what they wanted to keep. They chose what they wanted to keep in the Bible according to their own agenda, which indicates the clear corruption that they had. And this miracle not being widespread later, along with many other factors, led to the belief that Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam was the son of God. Madallah. Isa alayhi salam being born without a father was so unbelievable to some that it led to some thinking he was related to God and thereby divine. Astaghfirullah. However, this is also refuted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Al-Imran, ayat 59. Inna mathala Isa inda Allahi ka mathali Adam. خَلَقَهُ مِن تُرَابٍ ثُمَّ قَالَ لَهُ كُن فَيَكُونَ. The example of Isa with Allah is like that of Adam. He created him, Adam, from clay, and then said to him, be, and it thereupon happened. Now I'm going to fast forward a little bit. Isa alayhi salam has now been preaching for years and years, and a lot of Jews are not happy with him. They wanted a political Messiah, as I said before. They wanted a leader to put them back into power. They only wanted worldly gain. And they were not happy. They were irritated by Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam because he was preaching the deen to them. He was preaching spirituality to them. He was not being a political leader for them. Eventually, the misguided Jews got fed up and took the matter to the Roman leaders. The Roman leaders did not care about any spiritual leader of the Jews. However, they cared about any political uprising. And so these Jews created the propaganda in their minds that Isa alayhi salam was trying to take over. They tried to create the idea in the Romans' minds that Isa alayhi salam was a political figure, a rebel. And this made the Romans alerted and alarmed. This is what ultimately led to the order of arrest and crucifixion of Isa alayhi salam, which we know the story of how that ends. We establish our belief that it was a disciple of Isa alayhi salam who volunteered to take his place, who was made to look like Isa alayhi salam and was crucified instead of Isa alayhi salam. And while Isa alayhi salam rose to Jannah, where he is now. Unfortunately, due to lack of time, we cannot discuss this in detail. But inshallah, you all are free to come and learn about Isa alayhi salam and anything else possible about Islam from the learned individuals in the masjid. One major point I would like to finish on is that Isa alayhi salam is disrespected and his name is tarnished by so many people everywhere. And it is our job to defend the honor of Isa alayhi salam. It is not the job of Christians, and they have failed anyways. It is our job to protect the honor of our Nabi as well, and respect all the prophets and leading figures of Islam. Someone who disrespects a prophet is disrespecting one of the greatest creations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And therein they are disrespecting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself. And this is disrespecting Allah, which I cannot tolerate and should not be tolerated by anyone else. So if you are a true believer, you must realize it is your duty to protect the honor of the prophets and the books, especially the Quran and the companions, all of them. Inshallah, today you should take away the main point that in Surah Al-Imran, ayat 59, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala explains the example of Sayyidina Isa. How Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam is not very different from Sayyidina Adam. In fact, Sayyidina Adam's miracle is greater, as Sayyidina Adam did not even have a mother. Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam was created without a mother and a father. So it is irrational to think that it's impossible for Allah to create Isa alayhi salam without a father. This is the corrupted minds of the Christians. And this is what you have to protect yourself from. Inshallah, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect us from anything that would harm us. Ya Allah, we ask you to give aid to those Muslims who are in trouble all around the world. Ya Allah, help and protect the people of Palestine, the people of Gaza, the people of Sheikh Jarrah and Rafah. Ya Allah, ease their pain and suffering. Ya Allah, open your doors of mercy and allow for sustenance and protection for them. And allow the besieged to be helped. Ya Allah, protect us from the adhab during the end of times. Ya Allah, bless us all with husn al-khatimah. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. Anything I have said in error is from me, and anything I have said which has benefited you is from Allah Azza wa Jal. JazakAllah for listening. Wa akhir ad-dawaya anil hamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalamualaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inshallah, we'll have the brothers go around for donations. We have a car to move. It is a Ford with the license plate number CYHH537. Blocking an area, please move this. Inshallah, we have a couple announcements. On that Tuesday, the 31st, we have our Night of Praise program. It is our New Year's program, and everybody is invited. It starts at 9 p.m. and runs all the way to 12 p.m. Inshallah, we will have speeches, we will have nasheed, and we will have the salawat of Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam. So everyone is invited for the Tuesday of 31st, 9 p.m. inshallah. And for those of us who have children who we want to learn the deen, we have madrasa running from Monday to Friday. And especially in this winter break, we have another program going on, Winter Break Madrasa, which is going to run for the 2 weeks of which winter break is running. At the same time, 5:30 to 7:30, you can enroll your children for that madrasa as well. We also have Sunday school for children and for adults. If you yourself have fallen behind, forgotten how to recite the Quran, etc., you want to, establish your deen, inshallah, you can come on Sunday as well, and you can register for that as well, inshallah. We have the seniors program running on Sundays as well. It's around, I think, 11 o'clock, I'm not sure. But you can check the posters for that and come and join for the seniors program if you are a senior and you want to, be involved in the community, inshallah. Oh, inshallah, on Sunday after Fajr, we also have the Fajr tea time program, which is you can come and drink some chai and get some nasiha and learn a couple things from the nasiha of Sheikh Amr, inshallah. You come for that. And on Saturday night, we are having our salawat program. We have the salawat group, and you can check the posters to join the group. And you can come on Saturdays to do salawat as well. Yes, we also have the winter drive going on. Inshallah, the boxes are outside, and you can also donate money for that as well. There's a poster, you can check that out. We are going to be doing the drive during the winter break. So as well as helping the people of Palestine, of which we have the box here. We're helping our local community as well, the homeless people. We go to downtown, make these gift bags, and donate them to the people. So you can donate for that, or you can add any non-perishable foods or any items of clothing that are clean. So you can add them to the boxes and donate that as well.